Welcome back to another Hello World demo. In the last couple of videos, I've been using the same scenario, an input form where a user can type in a name or leave it blank, click run, and it says hello and the name of the person that they entered in. Or if they leave it blank, it says hello world. In the first video in this series, I used the logic and eraser action to decide the greeting to be put on the screen. In the follow-up video to that series, I used a custom razor token written in C# to do that same logic and decide what the greeting should be on the screen. Now, I believe I mentioned in both those videos that there was a much more plant and app friendly built-in action way to do it, but I was using this as a basic example in those previous two videos to show how you could do a razor token or a razor action. But what I wanted to do in this video is show how you actually should implement that type of form in Plant and App. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new action form. And we will drop that in. And go ahead and click Manage Form. That will open us up into our editor, and we'll just select a blank form. And the first thing we're going to add is our text box. And it's going to say, what is your name? Question mark, and I'm going to rename the ID on this field to name. And we're going to add a button, and this is going to be our run button. And all that will do is execute our logic. And we're going to add some static text here. This is going to be our greeting. So this is where the final message into the user will get added. And we're going to flip over to our settings here. We're going to select our label width, which is the width of that what is your name field, label on that. And we will switch to our layout, and we're going to make some adjustments. So in our name field, we just set the label width to 2. We need space for our input, so we're going to change this to a 4. So that means we get 2 columns for the label, 2 columns for our actual input field, and then our next field, which is the run button, which I think I'll set that at 3. And then we're going to drop the greeting right on the side of that. We're going to click Save and go ahead and do back to get our form. And so this is perfect. What is your name? We got our input field and click Run. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my Manage Form full screen. I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to do Open Link and New Tab. That way I get a second tab here for actually editing my form. So like I said, what's going to happen here is the user can enter in their name. Got to enter in David. Click Run. And if we had any logic, it would say Hello David next to this. And if I clicked Run without anything in here, it would put Hello World next to that. But as it is right now, we've got no logic in there, so it's not going to do anything. So let's go ahead and click over to my form. And we got our Run button. So the magic here is going to be our action list. So we need a couple things here. We need a couple create update tokens. I'm just going to drop those in. And we're going to need our Ajax field update. So that's under data, update form data. Like I've said before, this field update, this action updates our screen. So if you haven't been using it, you should go ahead and investigate it. What this will happen is it will allow the fields that need to be updated on the screen to update via Ajax without doing a full post back of the page. So it really enhances the user experience. So if you're not using this action here, you should go ahead and look into it, because your users will really get a lot better feel for your site. It'll seem a lot more professional when the entire page isn't posting back and just the fields update. So now let's go ahead and tackle our logic here. So what we're going to do here is, I'll just name this one Initialize. Okay, and so our tokens here are, so our goal is to get a message into the greeting static field. So if we scroll up to the top and look at our fields, we've got a static field named greeting, which means we automatically have a token in our system called greeting, and anything we write into that token is going to show up on the screen. So put our token name here, and we're going to just delete it or default it to Hello World. Okay, And so what this is saying is right off the bat, greeting gets set to hello world. If we do nothing else, greeting is going to be hello world. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. I'm going to flip back to our form, and I'm going to click run, and we get hello world over here. Okay, since we haven't put any other logic in, if I clicked run, we're still going to get hello world because I haven't put any other logic in. You notice the whole page didn't post back because we have that update via Ajax. It just updates our field over here on the side. So let's go ahead and click back to our form and click down into our action list under the run. And we're going to go ahead and name this extra one for, let's see, it's always hardest to think of the names. Greet the person. Let's call it greet the person, which is indicating that we're going to greet the person by name. Let's do greet the person by name. We'll call it that. That sounds good. And we need to add that greeting token in back down here. And then we have a token in the system that actually has what the user entered, and that token is going to be called name, right? So we automatically get a token based on the ID of the field, which is name. So that's going to be what the user entered. So if we do hello, and then our name token, and then we'll throw an exclamation point on the end, right? And so we can click save on that. So I'll show you what that'll do. We click David, we click run, we get hello David. Now we didn't put any conditional logic on that. So if I leave this blank, we're going to get hello blank. And so we don't want that to happen. So what we need to do is go back to our form, go into our run button, and go down to our action list. And we need to add a condition on that. So we're going to look at the name field. And if it's not equal to blank, so that exclamation point equals is a not equal, and then just the blank string, we're going to click save. Okay, so it's not equal to blank, then we do this override greeting with the name. Okay, so now let's go back here and let's type in David, and we're going to go ahead and click run, we get hello David. We leave it blank, we're going to get hello world. So that's exactly the functionality that we want here. Works out great. We leave it blank, it says hello world, we type in a name, we type in any name, we type in Bob, it's going to say hello Bob. So the one big difference with this one and the other two that we did is if we put in some spaces and we click run, because our name token isn't empty, we get hello blank, right? Because we still have spaces in there as opposed to empty. So we need to do something about that. So let's go ahead and go back to our condition on here. We're going to expand this out. And we're going to add to this works.trim parentheses. So this should trim our token variable. And then that's trimming off any white spaces, any tab, and then checking if it's equal. So let's go ahead and click save, and let's give that a try. Okay, so we should still have some spaces in there. We click run. We get hello world, so that worked out great. So now what's happening is we put David in. We get hello David. We leave it completely blank. We get hello world. And we can put in spaces or a tab. Oh, tab won't work because it'll just tab us to the next field. We put in spaces, we click run. That trim is going to trim off those spaces and still give us the hello world because then we have an empty string. So that's an important thing to keep in mind is a lot of these fields, especially the condition, is going to accept a lot of just standard C# functions in there since this is all getting translated into code behind the scenes. So that's it. So we get the exact functionality we wanted. So I wanted to demonstrate this because obviously the razor token, the razor action, they are very, very powerful tools for us to have in our toolbox when we're doing this development. But they're not always the best tool to be using for what we want to do. In this particular case, it's a lot easier, it's a lot more user-friendly, it's a lot more readable by a low-code developer or no-code developer when they're looking at the action list. Just look at those create update token actions as opposed to digging into the code for a razor action or for a razor token. In the end, this is 3 different ways to implement the exact same functionality in plants and apps. So it has a ton of expandability, a ton of functionality. However you want to do things, whatever's the fastest way you want to get something done, you're able to do that. You're not locked into one single way of doing things. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you've got any suggestions for future video topics or any questions, feel free to head down below in the comments. If you need any help with custom software development, whether it be Plantain app or any other technologies, feel free to head over to our website, veoviatechnologies.com, and check out the Contact Us form to reach us. Feel free to click that subscribe button if you want to stay updated on all of our future videos. And until then, happy coding.